we've subjugated worlds with firestorms and erased civilizations with a single command, Commander Valek sneered, leaning back in his chair. A planet of mammals can't possibly defy the might of the Galactic Alliance. The War Council erupted into murmurs of agreement. Around the polished obsidian table sat representatives of some of the most advanced species in the galaxy, their glowing robes and mechanical augmentations a testament to their technological supremacy. Yet, on the central holo display, Earth spun quietly in space, its blue oceans and green continents mocking their confidence. Primitive, isolated, and unremarkable, the lead analyst continued, highlighting Earth's entry in the galactic archive. Their weaponry barely breaches their own atmosphere. No warp capabilities, no planetary defenses. They're an easy conquest, ripe for annexation. The room fell silent as High Overseer Thalek, the Council's arbiter, gestured for attention. His voice was cold and measured. Then, let us proceed. Send the annexation fleet. Make an example of these humans. Valek saluted crisply, a grin splitting his scarred face. It will be done, Overseer. The fleet left for Earth 3 standard rotations later, a shimmering armada of warships slicing through hyperspace. Their flagship Dominance carried Valek and a contingent of his finest officers, along with an array of weapons designed to subdue entire planets. Victory was assured. As they approached the Sol system, however, the first anomaly occurred. Commander, there's resistance in our sensors, reported Sub-Lieutenant Corin, her tone uncertain. She tapped furiously at her console. It's unlike anything we've encountered. Our systems are reading scrambled telemetry. Valek frowned, leaning over the console to inspect the data. Resistance? From what? Unknown, sir. It's coming from Earth. The bridge fell quiet. Valek straightened, his earlier confidence faltering. Launch a probe. I want a full spectrum analysis of that planet immediately. Minutes later, the probe descended toward Earth's atmosphere. Its advanced scanners hummed as they began mapping the planet, beaming back streams of data to the fleet. The signal cut off abruptly. Probe destroyed, Corin reported, her voice tight. No impact detected. It was neutralized remotely. Neutralized. The word hung in the air like a specter. Valek's eyes narrowed. Deploy the drones. Full aerial reconnaissance. In Earth's orbit, a swarm of drones detached from the fleet, descending in perfect formation. Each was equipped with multi-spectrum scanners and defensive shielding, capable of withstanding even nuclear strikes. Yet, as they reached the planet's stratosphere, a strange phenomenon began to unfold. One by one, the drones lost contact. No hostile signatures detected, Corin stammered, her hands trembling over the controls. Their systems just stopped. On the flagship's main display, the feed from the final drone flickered. It showed a still image of Earth's surface, serene, untouched, before it, too, went dark. Valek clenched his fists. Impossible. No primitive species could. A voice interrupted him. Deep, calm, and unnervingly precise. It echoed across every communication channel in the fleet. This is Earth. Turn back now. Valek's blood ran cold. Trace that signal, he barked, his earlier bravado replaced by unease. Sir, Corin whispered, her eyes wide. It's coming from everywhere. Every frequency, every wavelength. It's as if the planet itself is speaking. The bridge erupted into chaos. Officers scrambled to make sense of the situation, but their advanced equipment provided no answers. Then, one by one, the ship's systems began to fail. Lights flickered, navigation controls locked, and even life support systems faltered. Valek gripped the edge of his chair, his voice a growl. Send a distress signal to High Command. Tell them Earth isn't. The lights went out entirely, plunging the flagship into silence. Only the voice remained, its words laced with an unspoken threat. This is your only warning. Leave. This is Earth. Turn back now. The words hung in the silence of the flagship Dominance, echoing through the nervous minds of its crew. Commander Valek paced the bridge, his steps heavy with mounting frustration. Every console flickered with errors, and the usual hum of the ship's engines had dropped to an ominous, low vibration. "What do you mean we can't reboot the systems?" Valek growled, his voice sharp enough to make the technicians flinch. Sub-Lieutenant Corin's hands hovered over her console, her pale skin glistening with sweat. "Sir, it's as if the fleet's entire operating system has been overwritten. It's not malfunctioning, it's been rewritten in real time." "By what?" Valek snapped. Corin swallowed hard. "By them?" The commander clenched his fists, his earlier bravado now laced with uncertainty. The idea that a primitive species could breach the impenetrable systems of the Galactic Alliance was unthinkable. Yet here they were, their fleet stranded in Earth's orbit, blind, deaf, and defenseless. "Get the auxiliary systems online," Valek barked. "Prepare the strike ships. If we can't dominate them from orbit, we'll take the fight to their surface." Moments later, strike ships launched from the fleet. Sleek and bristling with weapons, they cut through Earth's atmosphere with precision. The plan was simple: establish a forward base on the surface and neutralize any resistance. Valek watched their progress from the flickering tactical display, his jaw tight. "We'll show these mammals what true power looks like," he muttered under his breath. But as the strike ships descended, the first anomaly occurred. A localized electromagnetic pulse erupted over the fleet's lead craft, Striker 1, disabling its systems instantly. The craft plummeted toward the planet, its crew helpless as it vanished from sensors. "Report," Valek demanded. Corin's voice wavered. "Striker 1 lost. Cause unknown. The others are encountering resistance, unidentified drones intercepting their path." The display updated, showing the incoming human counterattack. A swarm of autonomous drones, sleek and silent, emerged from Earth's surface, their movements unerringly precise. They targeted the strike ship's propulsion systems, rendering them powerless. One by one, the crafts faltered, spiraling down to Earth. "Sir, these drones, they're operating with tactics beyond anything we've seen," Corin stammered. "Their precision, it's almost like they're thinking." Valek's teeth clenched. "Then we escalate. Deploy the fleet's kinetic bombardment systems. Flatten their defenses before they have a chance to counter." The crew scrambled to execute the command, activating the orbital cannons. These weapons, capable of reducing entire continents to ash, were the pride of the Galactic Alliance. But as the first barrage prepared to fire, the flagship systems froze entirely. "Commander," a technician shouted, "the firing sequences have been locked out. We can't launch the strike." Valek stormed to the nearest console. The screen displayed a single line of text, stark against the dark interface. "This is your second warning." A cold chill spread through the bridge. Valek slammed his fists onto the console. "Second warning? Who do these creatures think they are?" Before anyone could respond, the tactical display flickered. Footage began playing from the surface, real-time visuals of captured strike ship crews. Alien soldiers, unarmed and kneeling, stared into the camera, their faces filled with confusion and fear. Towering above them were human soldiers clad in black armor, their visors glowing faintly. "They're alive," Corin whispered, her tone a mix of awe and horror. The humans captured them without a single casualty. As the footage continued, one of the humans stepped forward. Unlike their soldiers, this figure wore no armor, only a simple black uniform with a silver emblem. His face was calm, almost disinterested. He looked directly into the camera and spoke. "You were warned." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Valek's anger boiled over. "They dare mock us? They dare show mercy as if we're the weak ones." Corin hesitated. "Sir, what if they're not showing mercy? What if they're trying to prove a point?" Valek ignored her, turning to his officers. "Ready every remaining ship for an orbital assault. This ends now." But as he spoke, The lights on the bridge dimmed. A new transmission filled the room, the human voice sharper this time, cutting through the air like a blade. This is your final warning. Leave now or face extinction. The lights died completely. Plunging the ship into darkness, Valek feels the weight of the silence pressing down on him, realizing that humanity is far more dangerous than he ever imagined. The flagship Dominance drifted in eerie silence, its once glowing control panels dark. Commander Valek stood on the bridge, his fists clenched at his sides, his gaze fixed on the lifeless hollow display. The human warning replayed in his mind. This is your final warning. Leave now or face extinction. Extinction. The word gnawed at him, an affront to everything the Galactic Alliance represented. How could a death-world species, barely beyond combustion engines a few centuries ago, hold an entire fleet hostage? It defied every law of galactic superiority Valek had ever believed. "Sir," Sub-Lieutenant Corrin's voice broke the silence, trembling but steady enough to draw his attention. "Backup systems are partially online. We've regained short-range sensors." "Show me," Valek ordered, his voice cold. The holodisplay flickered weakly to life, revealing Earth below. The planet glowed with an almost taunting serenity. But the scene in orbit was anything but calm. Swarms of human drones patrolled the wreckage of strike ships, methodically dismantling their remains. Stripped hulls floated like silent warnings. "They're harvesting our technology," Corrin whispered. Valek's lip curled. "Let them. Our weapons are centuries beyond their understanding." Another officer interrupted, his tone panicked. "Sir, that's not all. I'm detecting faint energy signatures converging on the fleet. Atmospheric launch trajectories." Valek's eyes narrowed. "Missiles?" "Negative," the officer replied. "Something smaller, faster." Moments later, the first wave struck. Sleek, black projectiles emerged from Earth's upper atmosphere, weaving through the fleet with unnatural agility. They weren't missiles. They were human-piloted craft. Their design was crude by Galactic Alliance standards, lacking the elegance of plasma drives or adaptive shielding. But what they lacked in sophistication they made up for in lethality. One fighter strafed the cruiser Resolute, its trajectory erratic and unpredictable. Plasma fire from the cruiser's turrets missed wildly as the fighter's pilot exploited blind spots with precision. A moment later, the Resolute's engine core exploded, ripping the ship in half. "Status report," Valek bellowed as the bridge shook under the shockwave. "They're using microthrusters for maneuverability," Corrin said, her voice rising over the din. "Their movements are unnatural. It's like they're reacting before our systems can lock on." Valek slammed a fist onto the railing. "Deploy countermeasures. Scramble interceptors." "We can't," another officer replied, his tone grim. "Our targeting systems are still offline." As the chaos unfolded in orbit, Earth's surface came alive. Human drones swept through the remains of the downed strike ships, retrieving intact Alliance technology. Troops in black armor, carrying weapons the Alliance couldn't identify, secured the crash sites with ruthless efficiency. One human commander issued orders in a language the Alliance couldn't decode, his voice calm and composed. Captured Alliance soldiers were rounded up, their weapons confiscated, but they were otherwise unharmed. The humans didn't kill indiscriminately, they dismantled methodically. Back on the Dominance, Valek stared at the unfolding carnage on the tactical display. Every moment, the humans grew bolder, their strikes more precise. It was as if they were testing the fleet, probing for weaknesses. "This isn't a war," Corrin said quietly, her eyes locked on the screen. "It's a demonstration." Valek rounded on her. "What are you suggesting?" "They're not fighting to kill us," she continued. "They're showing us how easily they could. This isn't about victory. It's about control." The bridge lights flickered again, and another transmission came through, filling the air with the unmistakable calm of the human voice. "We have taken enough of your ships. Leave now, or the next demonstration will not be so forgiving. Valek gritted his teeth. His pride demanded retaliation, but every instinct warned him of the folly in continuing. "We are the Galactic Alliance," he growled. "We do not bow to primitives." "Sir," Corin interjected, her voice shaking. "We've underestimated them at every step. If we don't retreat, I fear they'll—" The ship trembled violently, cutting her off. Alarms blared as another wave of human fighters swarmed the fleet, targeting vulnerable engines and critical systems. Explosions rippled across the Alliance's formation. One by one, ships began losing power and drifting aimlessly. Valek gripped the edge of his chair. "Prepare a transmission to High Command. Inform them." "Commander," Corin interrupted, her tone somber, "we've lost long-range communications." The reality sank in. The Galactic Alliance fleet, one of the most advanced in the galaxy, was being dismantled by a species they had deemed insignificant. As the fleet hangs in ruin, a final human transmission cuts through the static. "This lesson is over. The next one will not be so kind." Valek stares into the display, his confidence shattered as he realizes humanity is not a foe to be conquered, but a force to be feared. The transmission reverberated through every surviving ship in the Alliance fleet. "This lesson is over. The next one will not be so kind." The calm, human voice carried a weight that chilled even the most hardened officers. Commander Valek sat motionless on the bridge of the Dominance, his fingers digging into the armrests of his chair. Around him, the bridge crew scrambled to stabilize their failing systems, but the damage was already done. "Commander," Sub-Lieutenant Corin said quietly, her face pale, "we've lost 50% of the fleet. The rest are either disabled or in critical condition." Valek didn't respond immediately. His pride and disbelief battled with the cold reality of their defeat. "Order the retreat," he growled finally, his voice low and bitter. "What remains of the fleet must survive." Corin hesitated. "What will we tell High Command?" Valek's jaw tightened. The truth, news of the fleet's defeat reached the Galactic Alliance within days, transmitted by the few ships that limped back to safe territory. The report sent shockwaves through the Empire. For centuries, the Alliance had ruled unchallenged, their fleet symbols of unparalleled power. Now whispers of Earth, a so-called death world with a species of terrifying ingenuity, spread like wildfire. In the grand chambers of the Alliance Council, High Overseer Thalek stood before a restless assembly of representatives. The chamber, typically bathed in a serene blue glow, was dimmed, a reflection of the growing tension. "Explain this failure," Thalek demanded, his voice cold as he addressed Valek's holographic projection. The commander, battered and visibly humbled, stood rigid. "Humans are not what we assumed," Valek admitted. "Their technological capabilities far exceed their classification in the Galactic Archive. They neutralized our fleet without deploying conventional forces. They are," he paused, swallowing his pride, "more advanced than us in ways we cannot yet understand." The chamber erupted into an uproar. Representatives shouted over one another, some demanding immediate retaliation, others questioning the validity of Valek's report. Thalek raised a hand, silencing the chaos. "You claim a single planet defied the might of the Galactic Alliance. What proof do you have that this is not an isolated anomaly?" Valek's projection flickered as he adjusted the feed. "With respect, Overseer, I've brought more than a report." The chamber's central display activated, showing footage captured during the battle. The Council watched as human drones swarmed Alliance ships with surgical precision, as strike ships were neutralized midair, and as the humans displayed an uncanny mastery over tactics and technology. Gasps filled the chamber as the final message replayed. "The next lesson will not be so kind." Thalek's expression darkened. "How did we fail to anticipate this?" Elsewhere in the galaxy, the defeat of the Alliance fleet emboldened species long oppressed by their rule. On the industrial world of Tarxus Prime, rebellion broke out mere hours after the news spread. The Tarxians, inspired by humanity's defiance, overwhelmed their Alliance overseers and declared independence. The spark ignited by Earth spread quickly. Minor skirmishes turned into uprisings, and entire sectors fell into disarray. The Alliance, stretched thin and struggling to maintain order, faced a crisis unlike any in its history. In a hidden resistance cell on the edge of the galaxy, a Tarxian leader addressed his followers. "The humans have shown us what is possible. If a single planet can defy the Alliance, so can we. It's time we take our freedom back on Earth." The quiet hum of a hidden command center echoed beneath the surface. Deep within the bunker, General Marcus Reeves stood before a holographic map of the galaxy. Red markers indicated Alliance-controlled territories, while flashes of orange represented the growing pockets of rebellion. "They're scattering like frightened animals," Reeve observed, his tone cold. "The Alliance thought they could crush us. Now they're crumbling from within." Beside him, Director Elena Voss of Black Horizon smiled faintly. "The galaxy is learning the truth. Humanity is not to be trifled with." Reeve turned to her. "What's our next move?" "We let them destroy themselves," Voss replied. "But we stay ready. If they dare retaliate, we remind them why Earth is called a death world. If humanity wants war, we will give them war. Begin preparations for the eradication of Earth." The secret meeting in the heart of the Galactic Alliance's capital world, Velexer Prime, was cloaked in layers of security. The Shadow Faction, composed of the Alliance's most ruthless generals and scientists, gathered to discuss a single topic: the eradication of Earth. "This is no longer a matter of pride," said High General Drex, his voice harsh and commanding. "Humanity has humiliated us, destabilized the Alliance, and emboldened our enemies. If we do not act decisively, they will dismantle everything we've built." Around the table, grim faces nodded in agreement. The solution, however, was as controversial as it was extreme. "We have developed a biological weapon tailored to Earth's ecosystem," said Dr. Avara Kren, the faction's lead scientist. Her holographic display flickered to life, showing a crystalline virus designed to target human DNA and render their planet uninhabitable. "It will spread silently, neutralizing them before they have time to counterattack." Drex smirked. "Then it settled. We deploy the weapon, Earth falls, and the galaxy forgets their defiance." On Earth, deep beneath the surface of a fortified mountain range, General Marcus Reeve and Director Elena Voss of Black Horizon monitored galactic transmissions. Humanity had been tracking the Alliance's activities since the first encounter, intercepting and decoding their encrypted messages. "They're desperate," Reeve said, his voice low. The intercepted plans for the bioweapon flickered on the holographic display before them. "They're throwing everything they have at us." Voss leaned forward, her sharp eyes scanning the data. "Desperation makes them reckless. That's when mistakes are made." Reeve smirked. "Mistakes we'll exploit." As the Alliance Shadow Faction prepared to deploy their weapon, a stealth team of Black Horizon operatives infiltrated Velexer Prime. Their mission was simple: dismantle the bioweapon project and expose the Shadow Faction's corruption to the galaxy. Led by Commander Sarah Kane, the team moved like shadows, bypassing the most sophisticated security systems in the galaxy. Velexer Prime's sprawling research facility loomed ahead, its towering spires bristling with sensors and automated defenses. Inside, Dr. Kren stood in her lab, unaware that her carefully laid plans were already unraveling. "Begin final preparations for deployment," she instructed her team. "The countdown starts now." But the countdown never reached its conclusion. Kane's team breached the facility with surgical precision, their advanced equipment nullifying alarms and disabling guards before they could react. Within minutes, they had reached the core of the lab where the bioweapon was housed. "This is it," Kane whispered, her voice barely audible over her team's comms. She placed a device on the central console, a cybernetic virus designed to corrupt and erase all data related to the bioweapon. System infiltration in progress, her tech specialist reported. 3 minutes until full wipe. The facility's alarms blared as reinforcements scrambled to respond. Kane's team prepared for a fight, but the humans were already a step ahead. Drones equipped with cloaking devices and advanced AI intercepted the incoming forces, cutting off their advance. Dr. Kren burst into the lab, her face twisted with fury. "You think you can stop us?" she spat, glaring at Kane. Kane leveled her weapon at Kren, her expression cold. "Not think. No." The system purge completed, and the bioweapons containment chambers began to self-destruct. Kren lunged for a nearby console, but Kane fired a warning shot, stopping her in her tracks. "Your war ends here," Kane said, "and your crimes are going to light up every corner of the galaxy." Within hours, Black Horizon broadcast the Shadow Faction's plans across the Alliance. The footage of their bioweapon project and its intended use against Earth spread like wildfire. Outrage swept through the galaxy as member species realized the extent of the Alliance's corruption. Planets began withdrawing their support, rebellions grew fiercer, and the Alliance teetered on the brink of collapse. On Earth, General Reeve watched the fallout with grim satisfaction. "The Alliance is eating itself alive," he said. "We didn't need to fire a single shot. It's from High General Drex himself. You've made your move, humans. Now it's our turn." Voss nodded, her expression unreadable. "But they'll come again. Desperation always does." The message from High General Drex echoed across the command room of Black Horizon. "You've made your move, humans. Now it's our turn." General Marcus Reeve stood stoically, his sharp eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the movements of the remaining Alliance forces. Unlike the disarray of prior weeks, the Alliance's remnants had regrouped, forming a formidable fleet near their core worlds. Drex had consolidated the most loyal factions, gathering the best ships and weapons the Alliance had to offer. "They're coming," Reeves said, his voice steady. "And this time they're bringing everything?" Director Elena Voss folded her arms, her expression cold. "We've planned for this. Drex wants a final battle, and he's going to get one." Reeve turned to his staff. "Deploy the Aegis Protocol. If they want war, we'll show them what humanity is truly capable of." The Aegis Protocol was humanity's ultimate defensive measure. It activated a network of orbital platforms hidden throughout the solar system, each equipped with advanced shielding, stealth systems, and directed energy weapons. Earth's skies lit up as the platforms powered on, creating a nearly impenetrable barrier around the planet. Meanwhile, Black Horizon's fleet, humanity's trump card, moved into position. Unlike the Alliance's massive capital ships, the human fleet relied on smaller, faster vessels equipped with advanced AI and electronic warfare systems. Every move was calculated, every action coordinated with precision. On the bridge of the Dominance Redux, High General Drex observed Earth through the viewport. The massive flagship bristled with weaponry, its hull glowing faintly from the energy of its charged weapons. "Prepare the bombardment," Drex commanded. "We'll shatter their defenses and burn their planet to ash." The Alliance fleet advanced, an overwhelming armada of warships casting long shadows across space. The battle was inevitable. Earth's defenders stood ready. The first shots were fired by the Alliance, their plasma cannons streaking through space like lances of fire. But the Aegis Protocol sprang to life, intercepting the volleys with pinpoint accuracy. Orbital platforms retaliated with beams of concentrated energy, slicing through Alliance ships with surgical precision. The Dominance Redux shook as its forward shields absorbed the brunt of an orbital strike. Drex's eyes narrowed. "Impressive," he muttered. "But shields can hold. Press the attack." The Alliance fleet surged forward, overwhelming the outer layer of Earth's defenses. Several orbital platforms were destroyed, their remains scattering into space. But humanity was far from defeated. The Black Horizon fleet emerged from stealth, striking at the Alliance from unexpected angles. Human ships darted between enemy formations, using advanced electronic warfare to blind their targeting systems and disable their shields. Each attack was precise, disabling rather than destroying whenever possible. "Sir, we've lost targeting on sectors 3 and 7, an Alliance officer reported. Drex growled, slamming his fist on the console. "Counter their electronic interference. Deploy all auxiliary systems." But it was futile. Humanity's strategy wasn't to overpower, it was to outthink. The Alliance's larger ships struggled to adapt to the rapid, unpredictable maneuvers of the human fleet. On Earth, General Reeve watched the battle unfold on the tactical display. "They're breaking," he observed, his tone calm. Voss nodded. "But not Drex. He'll fight until the last ship burns." Reeve's expression hardened. "Then we end it now. Activate the final phase." The final phase of the Aegis Protocol revealed itself as Earth's defense platforms synchronized into a single system, pooling their energy to create a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had seen. A massive beam of energy lanced out, cutting through the heart of the Alliance fleet. Ships exploded in a chain reaction, their formations collapsing. The Dominance Redix was struck directly, its shields failing under the assault. Alarms blared as the flagship began to break apart. Drex stood defiantly, refusing to abandon his post. As the ship's systems failed, a transmission came through the bridge. A human voice, calm and unwavering, spoke. "This is your final lesson. You underestimated us. That was your greatest mistake." Drex's defiant expression faltered as the Dominance Redix erupted in flames, consumed by the blast. In the aftermath, the remaining Alliance ships surrendered. Humanity did not press further. They allowed the defeated forces to return home, bearing a message for the galaxy. Weeks later, the Galactic Alliance formally disbanded. Planets declared independence, species once subjugated began rebuilding, and a new balance of power emerged. At its center was Earth, a planet no longer viewed as a backwater, but as a force of ingenuity and resilience. In a message broadcast across the stars, Director Voss addressed the galaxy. "Let this serve as a reminder. Humanity desires peace, but if provoked, we will defend ourselves. The most important rule in the galaxy is simple: never mess with humans." The galaxy listened. Humanity's rise had reshaped the order of the cosmos, and no one dared challenge them again.